But then as the person gets older and then you walk into their house, these are things they have collected over the years.
Yes.
The garage is now full, so now they have to bring it in the house.
Of course. But I'm just thinking, you can see it happening. Well, I saved these aluminum cans because the nephews come over and they take it to the recycling center. And then the nephews are in their late 20s or 30s and don't come by anymore. And the next thing you know, they're still saving the cans, and there they sit, piling
And the
up.
intention to do something with these things is what starts to cause storage in inappropriate places.
Yes.
So pretty soon you're putting things in corners of rooms. Pretty soon you're putting them in the bathtub. Pretty soon you're putting them inside the oven because you're not using the oven.
Right.
On top of the stove. And before you know it, the rooms are not really available for what they're expected to be used. I've seen homes where you go into the person's bedroom and the bed itself already has so much that all you see is a little space where the person kind of crawls in and out of at night and in the morning because the bed is full of things, because the bedroom is now full of things. So it just inches.
Okay. Well, Bobby, friend of mine, Bobby Sherman, said sometimes he will get into these crowded rooms, but there will always be a clear path to the television set. Somehow or another, that one easy chair and that remains open. Well, are there professional services that do this stuff in addition to the nonprofits who maybe are accustomed to dealing with the mental part of this? But a professional service that you could call on to say, hey, I've got this place, it needs to be cleaned up.
Typically it starts, if we're dealing with an older adult, it's a social worker or case manager through the senior center. Because the family member has access to them because they're getting some meals, they're getting some other services. So that's usually the first point of contact. And then it's assessing and seeing what the older adult, what do they want? Are they actually asking for help? Or is this older adult not capable anymore because of the limitations that they have that we were discussing before? And that's when we bring in whether it's Adult Protective Services, so they could assess and do a write-up. Do we need to bring in other family members to see, is this person no longer safe to live at their home? Do they need to be placed somewhere else? And that's usually where we start.
Right. I would think this is kind of a special obligation just as a human being. If you're a landlord and one of your tenants is in this condition, maybe it's a long-term tenant, you can call the department, right, and say, listen, I'm this person's landlord and I'm growing concerned.
Right. And that's the piece that, even as we said, there's many older adults that don't have family members at all or nearby, so they may not be aware of it. But as a neighbor, if you start to see that last time you went over to check in on someone, you saw evidence of what you think is progressing to become worse, or a landlord, certainly give a call and let us know what you've observed, and then we'll look into it and see whether it's a problem.
Now, obviously, you have to worry about any kind of threatening behavior because people will shut themselves off. How is that approached if you're going cold to someone's home and saying, I'm just checking on you? Is that kind of what you do?
Typically, that's what we do. We want to establish the rapport. We want them to feel safe. We're not here to take things away, take them out of their home, because, everyone in their home is their place of comfort.
It's their castle.
So, and typically what you see with hoarders, they do not let you in right off the bat. It takes a long time to establish that rapport, to let their guard down, to make them feel safe that we're here for them.
Is it a sense of privacy, or is there some residual shame?
Yeah, there's shame. There's the embarrassment. And it's also the fear that we're going to take their stuff away. Because like we were saying, for them it's value. They don't see it the way we see it. So what we need to do is educate them and explain to them that this is in relation to safety and for their health. Those people who hoard animals, they typically are rescuers, right?
Yes.
So they do it out of the love of their heart. They don't want these animals to go wandering around, not have food. But what happens with hoarding animals is they build up so many animals, there isn't enough space. The animals have all these conditions that they become contagious, and one gives it to the other. They can't get the vaccinations, the sanitation. So the purpose of why they're trying to rescue the animal is now why we have to come and help them with the animal. And these animals we end up having to put them to sleep because they become so ill that it's even out of the vet's control to know how to take care of them.
But do you find that the hoarder responds to this kind? I mean, that's a wonderful approach. It gets them to buy into the issues, but when you explain safety issues to them or the malnourished excess of pets they have, are they still able to comprehend that?
Generally, when it's approached as a concern, people do. And what I have found interesting is that as we've gone around the communities of Los Angeles to talk on this topic, afterwards people have come over still kind of hanging their head down a little and saying, I think I might have this problem. How can I get help? So they do self-identify.
Wow.
But when they understand that it's about helping them to resolve something that they know underlying is a problem rather than a threat, they are much more open to getting help.
Well, that makes great sense. I just think over and over, this happens so often to people in isolation. And we've got to, if we have elderly neighbors, we've got to look in on them. We just have to do that.
But it's a very complex issue.
Sure.
Again, it's not something that could be solved within a week or within a month's time. The key is to establish a goal with the hoarder. See, if we help you with starting with one room, with one section at a time, rather than let's clean up the whole place, that's going to overwhelm them. And like I said, recidivism is very high. So they will relapse and start collecting again. So you got to accept them where they're at and start there. There's also a clutter support group or a hoarder support group that are out in the community where they could be with others who understand them, accept them, and they feel very safe in that kind of setting.
That's wonderful. So look, help is available. Now, our time is up for today's program. Thanks so much to our guests, Dr. Annette Lewis and Susie Rodriguez Shapiro from our own Los Angeles City Department of Aging. And now, it's time for today's Senior Stat Shots. Since we discussed how caregivers can deal with hoarding on today's program, we are going to share some statistics on how many seniors require some form of assistance with personal care. A recent study by the California Department of Aging estimated that 30% of women and 17% of men over the age of 75 need some form of assistance. The study went on to show that in the age group 65 to 79, 17% of men and women need some kind of assistance. In the age group 75 to 84, 28% require some form of assistance. Those men and women 85 and older, nearly half, 49%, need some form of personal care assistance. By the way, the age group 85 and older is the fastest growing segment of the U.S. population. And that's today's Senior Stat Shot. The Los Angeles Department of Aging produces this program with CityView, Channel 35, so that seniors living in Los Angeles and surrounding communities are well informed on the many issues that face them in everyday life. And also to let you know of the many services that the Department of Aging offers our senior citizens. Now, we'd like to hear from you with comments on the program, what you like, what you think can be improved, and your ideas for future programs will be welcome. Please give us a call. The number's right there on your screen, 213-252-4088. That's 213-252-4088. Call us with your comments and ideas. We look forward to hearing from you. I'm Paul Peterson for the Los Angeles Department of Aging, the people here at CityView Channel 35, and all of our guests on Aging in LA. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
CityView Channel 35. Your city, your channel.